When you turn your gaze inward, you begin to discover a truth that has always been waiting for you. The only power you will ever need rests within your own consciousness. Too often, we spend our lives measuring ourselves against the lives of others, comparing achievements, chasing approval, watching what they have, and questioning why it is not yet ours. But the secret is simple. Your focus must not be on them, it must be on you. For it is not the outer world that shapes your destiny, but the inner one. When you center yourself and assume the state of being you desire, the world cannot help but reflect it back to you. If you are looking outside for validation, you will always be at the mercy of circumstances. But when you understand that all change begins with you, you rise above the noise. You no longer need to compete, to compare, or to seek. You only need to imagine, to embody, and to persist in the inner certainty of who you are. The moment you take your attention off others and place it fully upon yourself, you begin to walk in true freedom. For you are not here to live their story, you are here to write your own. And the pen is always in your hand. Each thought, each feeling, each assumption you make about yourself and your life is a brushstroke painting the canvas of your reality. What good is it to envy another's masterpiece when the paint is still wet on your own? Do not let the outer noise distract you. What others say, what others do, what others think, none of it has the power to shape your destiny unless you grant it permission. The only permission that matters is the one you give yourself. You must allow yourself to believe in the life you desire. You must allow yourself to feel worthy of love, success, joy, abundance, and peace. The world is not withholding from you. Your own attention is simply scattered. Turn inward. See yourself as the person you long to be and hold that vision as though it were already yours. Walk with the confidence that what you are within must eventually show itself without. The law is unchanging. What you accept as true in your imagination must one day take form. The outer world is simply the shadow of the inner one. If you desire light, then you must shine it from within. So, let others walk their path. Let them dream their dreams, bless them in their journey, but do not abandon your own by living through their reflection. You are the center of your experience. You are the one who decides. You are the one who gives meaning to what happens in your life. And when you focus on you, not in selfishness, but in awareness, you step into the infinite power that has always belonged to you. When you shift your gaze away from the noise of the world and place it firmly upon yourself, you begin to see that the true axis of power lies not in the opinions, actions, or possessions of others, but within your own consciousness. Life has a subtle way of drawing our attention outward, enticing us to look at what our neighbor is doing, what our friend has achieved, what a stranger on a screen seems to possess. We fall into the trap of measuring ourselves against an endless parade of external standards. And in doing so, we forget the eternal truth, that the outer world is nothing but a reflection of our inner state. No amount of comparison or competition can bring you closer to your fulfillment. It is only by turning inward, only by focusing on the world within, that you will ever claim the life that belongs to you. The moment you allow yourself to be consumed by what others are doing, you step out of your creative authority. You begin to believe that your destiny is written in the hands of the world, when in truth it is written in the depths of your own imagination. Every thought you hold, every emotion you entertain, every assumption you cling to is forming the shape of your reality. The outer life you live is nothing more than the echo of your inner state. Yet how often do we surrender this truth by fixating on what someone else has, by envying their success, by comparing their progress to our own? The truth is that no one else's journey can determine yours. No one else's story is meant to be your story. You are here to express your unique pattern, your unique vision, your unique essence. The more you look at others, the more you lose sight of yourself. Imagine for a moment what happens when you stop competing, stop comparing, and stop questioning why your life does not yet look like theirs. Imagine the freedom that comes when you allow yourself to step into your own vision and live as though it were already true. The world is not withholding anything from you. It is waiting for you to decide who you are. It is waiting for you to assume the role that only you can play. The outer conditions are not the master. They are the servant. They only obey the convictions you hold about yourself. If you persist in focusing focusing outward, you are bound to be pulled in 1,000 directions, swayed by every opinion, every achievement, every trend. But if you gather your attention and fix it inward, you find yourself anchored in the one place where real power dwells, your imagination. It is within the silent chambers of your imagination that your future is born. It is here that you must live, not in the borrowed images of another's life, but in the certainty of your own fulfilled desire. Can you see yourself as the one who has already achieved? Can you feel the joy of being the person you long to be? Can you walk with the confidence that what you accept as real within must eventually appear without? This is the great secret. The outer world cannot resist the inner conviction. It cannot help but take the shape of what you inwardly assume. Yet this truth becomes powerless to you when your attention is scattered across the lives of others. Every time you compare yourself, you declare lack. Every time you envy, you confess that you do not yet believe. Every time you give weight to what another possesses, you deny the abundance of your own inner being. Do you not see that you are infinite, that the same source that gave them their good has already prepared yours, that the stream of life flowing through them is the same stream flowing through you? When you know this, there is no more room for jealousy, for comparison, for doubt. There is only the steady awareness that what you claim within must be yours without. Think of how much energy is wasted on looking outward, how much time is spent scrolling, observing, analyzing, judging, wishing, longing, and yet all the while, the true creative work goes undone. The painting of your life remains untouched because your eyes are on another's canvas. But when you decide to bring your focus home, to return to the center of your being, you find that you are never lacking in tools, never lacking in opportunity, never lacking in power. Everything you need is already within you. The life you desire is already finished in the invisible realm, waiting for you to accept it as your reality. The only question is, will you focus on you, or will you continue to scatter your energy on others? The most liberating discovery you can ever make is that no one outside of you holds the key to your destiny. Not family, not friends, not critics, not strangers. No one can block you but you, and no one can open the way for you but you. The very moment you decide to see yourself differently, the world must reorganize itself to match that vision. The moment you allow yourself to feel the reality of your desire fulfilled, life bends to make it so. This is not fantasy, it is law, and the law does not fail. Do not confuse this with selfishness. To focus on yourself is not to disregard the world, but to realize that you are the cause. When you are aligned within, when you live from the vision of your fulfilled desire, you naturally bless others. You become a source of inspiration, of abundance, of love, of confidence, of peace. By lifting yourself, you lift those around you. But you cannot give what you do not possess. You cannot shine light if you do not first ignite it within. To make yourself the center of your focus is to honor the truth of creation. Everything begins in you. So let the world race, let others boast, let them walk their paths. None of it matters to your destiny. You do not need their pace, their approval, or their direction. Your only work is to live fully in your inner conviction. See yourself as having already arrived. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude of the end fulfilled. Walk in that state until it becomes more real to you than the circumstances you see. And when you do, the outer world cannot help but mirror it back. This is the mystery of life, that what you dwell upon within becomes the life you dwell in without. And so I tell you, stop waiting for others to validate your worth. Stop measuring your life against theirs. Stop giving away your focus, for your focus is your power. Place it where it belongs, on you, not in arrogance, not in pride, but in awareness of the truth. You are the center of your experience. You are the one who gives life to your world. The vision you hold, the state you occupy, the story you tell yourself, this is the script that creation follows. The day you realize this, you are free. You no longer chase, you no longer doubt, you no longer envy. You simply assume and you allow. You live in the joy of knowing that your inner world is the seed and the outer world is the harvest. And the harvest always comes if only you will focus on you and nurture the seed you have planted. When you take your attention away from others and place it firmly upon yourself, You awaken to a truth that has been quietly waiting for you all along. The world has conditioned you to look outward, to measure yourself against the success, the progress, the beauty, the wealth, and the recognition of others. From childhood, you are told to compete, to compare, to strive against your neighbor as if life were a race with only a single prize. But the secret is that there is no competition, for what belongs to you cannot be taken by another, and what belongs to another cannot be yours. Each of us is an expression of the same infinite source, and each of us carries within the blueprint of our own fulfillment. By giving your attention to others, you abandon your own power, and by giving your focus to yourself, you reclaim it. The outer world is nothing more than a mirror. Every circumstance, every encounter, every appearance is reflecting back to you the state you are dwelling in within. When you envy what another has, you are not really looking at them. You are looking at a distorted reflection of your own disbelief. Their success, their joy, their abundance is not meant to diminish you, but to remind you of the infinite possibility that already resides within you. If you would only turn your gaze inward, if you would only dare to accept the truth that your own inner world is the cause, then you would never again waste your energy wishing to be someone else. You would know that everything you see in them is but a shadow of what you may claim for yourself. Consider how much time is spent chasing the lives of others. Hours pass scrolling through endless displays of achievement, beauty, and perfection, and in that time, the canvas of your own life remains untouched. You are the artist of your reality, and every thought is a brushstroke. Yet when your eyes are fixed on another's painting, you neglect the masterpiece waiting to be expressed through you. The world does not need you to replicate someone else's picture. It needs you to paint your own. It needs you to reveal what only you can bring forth. And that will never happen until you place your full attention back on yourself. The moment you gather your attention inward, you discover a stillness that the outer world can never provide. Here, in this inner sanctuary, there is no competition, no judgment, no lack. There is only the vast field of possibility. Here, you may assume yourself to be whomever you choose. Here, you may feel yourself into the life you desire. And what you dare to feel as true, if you will persist in that feeling, must inevitably solidify into form. This is the eternal law of life, as within, so without. The outer is compelled to follow the inner. To focus on yourself is not selfishness. It is the recognition of this law. For only when you take command of your inner state do you shape the world according to your desire. Do not be deceived by appearances. The world will tempt you to believe that power lies outside in the hands of people, circumstances, and chance. But appearances are shadows, and shadows cannot create. They only reflect. If you allow yourself to be swayed by them, you will live as a slave to conditions. You will find yourself constantly reacting, constantly adjusting, constantly chasing. But if you remember that the shadow is cast by the light within, you will no longer fear what you see. You will know that the only work required is to adjust the light. And that light is your imagination, your assumption, your focus. Ask yourself, why do you give so much power to the opinions of others? Why do you measure your worth by what they say, what they do, what they appear to have? Every time you do so, you are handing them the brush with which to paint your life, and they cannot paint your vision, for it was never given to them. Only you can create the life that belongs to you. You must dare to see yourself as enough. You must dare to feel worthy of the desires that stir in your heart. They are not random wishes. They are the whispers of your destiny. They are the evidence of what is already prepared for you in the unseen. But to receive them, you must focus on you. Think of the seed. It does not look to the tree beside it and ask, why am I not yet as tall? Why do I not yet bear fruit? It simply grows, knowing that its season will come. The soil does not deny it. The sun does not withhold. The rain does not refuse. Everything required for its fulfillment is already given. So it is with you. The desire planted within you is your seed. It will grow in its own appointed time if only you will nurture it with your focus and your faith. But the moment you turn your attention to the tree beside you, comparing, envying, doubting, you abandon your seed. You neglect what was meant to be your harvest, and in doing so, you delay the unfolding of your own destiny. To focus on yourself is to water your own seed. It is to trust that your life has a unique rhythm, a unique unfolding, a unique expression. when you cease to compare and instead choose to embody the end you desire, you align yourself with the creative force of the universe. You walk as though it were already done. You feel the joy of having received, even when the outer world has not yet shown it. And by doing so, you set in motion the invisible currents that must carry your desire into manifestation. This is not wishful thinking. This is not blind hope. This is the law of life, and it never fails. Look at the stories of those who have achieved greatness. You will find one common thread. They stopped trying to be someone else. They stopped measuring their worth against the lives around them. They turned their gaze inward and chose to live from their own vision. That is why they stand out, because they dared to be themselves fully. The world makes room for the one who knows who they are, and the world will make room for you the moment you stop looking outward and begin to live from the reality within. What others have is not your concern. What they do, what they say, how far they have gone, it is not your business. The only business you have is with yourself. Are you assuming the state you desire? Are you dwelling in the end of your vision? Are you nourishing your imagination with faith, or are you feeding it with doubt by constantly looking to others? This is the only work required of you, to believe in yourself so completely that the outer world cannot help but conform. Do not think that this means you must isolate yourself or become indifferent to others. On the contrary, when you live fully from within, you are able to love others more, freely. You no longer envy because you know that nothing is withheld from you. You no longer judge because you see that everyone is on their own unique path. You no longer fear because you know that the source of your life is not in the world but in your own imagination. From this place, you can bless others without diminishing yourself. You can celebrate their victories, knowing that yours are certain. You can lift them up because you are no longer threatened by their success. This is the liberation that comes from focusing on you. It is the freedom from the endless cycle of comparison, the freedom from the need for approval, the freedom from the illusion of lack. It is the freedom to create, to assume, to embody, to live. And this freedom is your birthright. It has always been yours, but it waits for your recognition. It waits for the moment you decide to turn away from the distractions of the outer world and claim the power of the inner one. Life is not a race. It is not a ladder. It is not a contest of who can arrive first or who can shine the brightest. Life is the unfolding of your own unique expression. And the only way you can fulfill it is by focusing on you, by daring to believe in yourself, by daring to feel that what you desire is already yours, by walking each day in the quiet confidence that your imagination is the womb of creation and what you conceive within must be born without. So release the need to watch others. Release the urge to measure your progress against theirs. Release the idea that someone else's light diminishes your own. Place your attention back where it belongs, on you. See yourself as already the one you long to be. Feel it in your heart. Live in it in your imagination. Persist in it with unwavering faith. And soon the world will reflect it. Not because you forced it, not because you competed for it, but because you focused on the only power that has ever mattered. The power within you. When you turn your attention inward and allow yourself to step away from the endless comparison with others, you begin to realize the true source of power has always been within you. The world has conditioned you to look outside of yourself, to measure your worth by the progress of another, to decide your value by the recognition you receive from those around you. It is easy to get caught in the illusion that what others are doing determines what is possible for you, that their success means your delay, that their abundance somehow magnifies your lack. But none of that is true. Life is not a competition, it is not a race, and it is not a contest of who is further ahead or who shines brighter. Life is the unfolding of your own inner vision, and the moment you stop chasing others and begin to focus on you, everything begins to shift. So many live as prisoners of comparison. They look at the neighbor and say, "Why do they have what I don't?" They see a friend celebrated and quietly shrink inside, believing that their own light has been diminished. They observe a stranger living in abundance and forget that the same abundance flows through them. But to spend your energy gazing outward is to waste the very force that could have built your life. Every second you spend watching someone else's path is a second you have abandoned your own. Every moment you give to jealousy, envy, doubt, or longing is a moment you could have given to the construction of your dream. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot live in the reality of another and expect to give birth to your own. When you decide to turn inward, something miraculous happens. You begin to see that the outer world is nothing more than a reflection of what you entertain within. All the experiences, all the circumstances, all the conditions of your life are shaped by your assumptions, by your feelings, by your beliefs. What you hold to be true within your imagination must eventually show itself without. The outer is powerless to create. It can only mirror. And so, when you place your focus on others, you are simply reinforcing a state of lack within yourself. You are saying with your attention, they have and I do not. And so life will echo that belief. But when you place your focus on yourself, when you dare to assume that what you long for is already yours, when you walk in the quiet confidence of your fulfilled desire, then the world must bow to your vision. You were never meant to live as a shadow of another. You were never meant to imitate their path or echo their story. You came into this life carrying the seed of your own destiny, and that seed contains within it everything necessary for its fulfillment. Just as an acorn contains the blueprint of the oak tree, your desires carry the blueprint of your future. When you honor them, when you give them your focus, when you allow them to live vividly within you, they will grow. But if you abandon them for the distractions of another's life, if you spend your days comparing, doubting, and questioning, then you deny them the nourishment they require. Consider the seed in the ground. It does not look to the tree beside it and ask, "Why am I not yet as tall? Why do I not yet bear fruit?" It trusts its season. It trusts the invisible law that governs all growth. The soil, the rain, the sun, they will all conspire to fulfill what is already written within the seed. And so it is with you. Your desire is your seed. It is not random. It is not a fantasy. It is a whisper of what is already yours in the unseen. The moment you claim it within, the law of life goes to work to bring it forth. But your task is to nurture it with focus and faith, not to neglect it while staring at the tree of another. When you focus on yourself, you step into the awareness that you are the center of your experience. The world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Every person you meet, every opportunity that arrives, every challenge that arises is drawn to you because of the state you occupy. If you dwell in lack, the world must present lack. If you dwell in abundance, the world must reflect abundance. If you dwell in confidence, life will mirror confidence. The outer world is your shadow, and a shadow cannot move until you move first. This is why your focus must remain on you, because the only place where change can truly begin is within. There is great freedom in this realization. When you no longer look to others for your sense of progress, you release yourself from the endless cycle of striving and comparing. You no longer feel the need to race, for you understand that your journey has its own rhythm. You no longer crave the approval of others, for you know that the only permission you ever needed was your own. You no longer envy, for you see that abundance is not scarce but infinite, and that your portion is secure. To focus on yourself is to reclaim your freedom. It is to take back the energy you once scattered on others and use it to build the life you were meant to live. Think of how often people hold themselves back because of what others might think. They hide their dreams, they silence their desires, they shrink their vision, all because they fear judgment. But what power does another's opinion truly have? None, unless you give it authority. The only voice that can shape your life is the voice you entertain within. The story you tell yourself is far more powerful than anything they could say. If you tell yourself you are not enough, you will live it. If you tell yourself you are abundant, loved, worthy, capable, you will live that too. Your life bends to the script you repeat within, and that script is yours alone to write. This is why focusing on others is so destructive. It takes your pen and places it in their hands. It makes their story the measure of your own. But no one else can write your destiny. No one else can dream your dream. No one else can feel the life you long for into being. That is your work, and it is the most important work you will ever do. To imagine, to feel, to assume, to persist, that is the labor of creation. And it can only be done by focusing on you. When you decide to live this way, you no longer see others as rivals. Their success does not diminish you, it inspires you. Their joy does not threaten you, it reminds you of your own. Their abundance does not take from you, it testifies that abundance is possible. You can bless them freely because you know that your life is not determined by their portion. You live in the certainty that what is yours is already yours, and nothing can take it away. Focusing on yourself does not mean isolation or selfishness. It means alignment. It means recognizing that the cause of your life is not out there, but in here. When you are aligned within, when you live as though your desire is already fulfilled, you naturally radiate love, confidence, and peace. Others are drawn to you, not because you are chasing them, but because you are anchored in yourself. You become a light that inspires without effort, a presence that uplifts without trying, and all of it begins by focusing on you. You are not here to be a copy. You are not here to diminish yourself by staring at the path of another. You are here to reveal what only you can reveal. Your desires are sacred. They are the roadmap to your destiny. Honor them by giving them your attention. Feed them with imagination. Clothe them in feeling. Persist in them until they harden into fact. And while the world may take its time to rearrange itself, never let your gaze wander to another's life in doubt. Trust your process. Trust your vision. Trust yourself. The truth is simple. What you focus on expands. If you focus on others, you expand their story in your mind and shrink your own. If you focus on yourself, you expand your vision and give it the life it deserves. Choose wisely, for your focus is your power. Do not give it away so cheaply. Guard it, direct it, invest it in the life you long to live. For as surely as the sun rises, what you focus on within must one day appear without. And the moment you understand this, the moment you commit to living it, you will never again waste a second looking outside of yourself for what can only be found within. When you finally learn to take your eyes off others and turn them inward, you begin to understand that the greatest treasure, the greatest power, and the greatest opportunity of your life have always been waiting inside of you. From the time you were young, the world trained you to compare, to measure, to chase, to look outward, as if your destiny depended on what someone else was doing. You were told to compete in school, to compare possessions, to measure achievements, to notice who had more and who had less, and you grew up believing that life was a race you had to run against everyone else. But life is not a race. Life is not a contest. Life is not about who arrives first or who shines the brightest. Life is about one thing, the unfolding of the vision that has been planted inside of you. And that vision will never be born until you decide to take your attention away from others and place it fully on yourself. The outer world has no creative power of its own. Everything you see around you is the result of inner causes, beliefs, assumptions, and imaginations that have already been entertained. The life you are living right now is nothing more than the echo of the states you have dwelled in before. But the trap that many fall into is to forget this truth and to assume that what others are doing holds more weight than what they are believing. They begin to live through borrowed visions, envying the accomplishments of a friend, longing for the lifestyle of a stranger, measuring themselves against the highlight reels of those who post their lives for display. And in that comparison, they abandon their own power. Every time you look outward in envy, you are silently declaring lack. Every time you measure your progress against someone else's, you are affirming that you are behind. Every time you place another on a pedestal, you are lowering yourself in your own imagination. And because your world is only the reflection of your inner state, those feelings and assumptions will continue to show up in your reality. You will keep finding yourself behind, lacking, waiting, wanting. But the moment you turn your attention inward and focus only on yourself, everything begins to change. For it is only in your own consciousness that creation takes place. To focus on yourself is to return to the center of your power. It is to remember that you are the writer, the actor, and the director of your own play. No one else can play your role, and no one else can take your place. The vision that stirs within you is uniquely yours, and no one else can bring it forth but you. The desires you feel are not empty dreams. They are the evidence of what is already waiting for you in the unseen. They are invitations from the future calling you to embody them now. And the only way to accept that invitation is to focus on you, not on them, not on the world, not on appearances, but on the self within. Think of the way a seed grows. It carries within it the blueprint of the tree it is meant to become. It does not need to ask the seed beside it how tall it will grow, nor does it compare its progress to another in the soil. It simply grows, because growth is its nature. It trusts the soil, the sun, the rain, and the invisible law that governs life. So it is with you. The desires within you are your seeds. They contain the full blueprint of the life you are meant to live. If you will trust them, if you will give them your focus, if you will nourish them with imagination and persistence, they will grow in their season. But if you keep looking outward, if you compare your seedling to another's tree, if you doubt the process because it seems to be taking too long, you will stunt your own growth. When you focus on yourself, you stop wasting energy. Think of how much time people give away every day by observing the lives of others. Hours are spent scrolling, analyzing, criticizing, admiring, envying, wishing. And yet in all that time, they are not once creating, not once imagining, not once assuming the reality they truly want. The energy that could have gone into building their life is scattered into fragments of distraction, but the one who knows the secret gathers that energy and turns it inward. They invest their attention in imagining the life they desire. They dwell in the state of already having it. They feel the reality of it until it becomes so natural that the outer world has no choice but to conform. Do not confuse this with selfishness. To focus on yourself is not to disregard others, but to recognize that your outer relationships, your experiences, and your opportunities are all shaped by who you are within. When you align yourself inwardly with love, you will radiate love outwardly. When you align yourself with abundance, you will bless others with abundance. When you align yourself with peace, you will bring peace to those around you. To make yourself the center of your focus is not to close your heart, but to open it from a place of wholeness. You cannot give what you do not possess, and you cannot possess it until you first claim it within. Ask yourself honestly, how much of your life has been lived in reaction to others? How many dreams have you abandoned because of what someone else might think? How many times have you silenced your vision because you feared judgment? How many times have you doubted your ability because you saw another who appeared further along? Each of those moments was a surrender of your power. Each was a choice to live in their shadow instead of your own light. But you are not here to be a shadow. You are here to shine. And that shine begins only when you return your attention to yourself. You must dare to see yourself as the one you long to be. You must dare to feel that your desire is already fulfilled. You must dare to walk each day as though the life you imagine is already yours. The outer world may not show it yet, but the outer world is only a delayed reflection of your inner conviction. Persist in that inner conviction, and the outer must yield. It cannot do otherwise. The law is unchanging, as within, so without. This is why focusing on others is not only unhelpful, but dangerous. It tempts you to forget the law. It convinces you that the outer is cause and the inner is effect, when in truth, it is always the opposite. The outer is shadow, the inner is substance. The outer is echo, the inner is voice. The outer is harvest, the inner is seed. To focus on another's harvest while neglecting your own seed is folly. But to nurture your seed and trust the law is wisdom, and wisdom always bears fruit. The world will never stop offering distractions. There will always be another person to compare yourself to, another achievement to envy, another reason to doubt. But you are free to ignore it. You are free to turn away from appearances and to dwell in the unseen. You are free to live from the end you desire, to claim it now, to embody it before the world confirms it. And the moment you make that choice, the moment you focus on yourself fully and faithfully, the entire universe begins to move on your behalf. Invisible currents rearrange. People, places, and events are drawn into alignment. Circumstances shift. Doors open. What once seemed impossible begins to unfold effortlessly. Not because you chased, not because you competed, not because you compared, but because you focused on the only power that has ever mattered, the power within you. And when you live this way, you find that your relationship to others changes as well. You no longer envy their success because you know your own is certain. You no longer feel diminished by their light because you understand that light is infinite. You no longer crave their approval because you have already approved of yourself. You can celebrate them freely, bless them sincerely, love them unconditionally, because your security no longer depends on them. You have found your center, and from that center flows everything you could ever need. You are not here to repeat another story. You are not here to echo their path. You are here to reveal the vision that has been written within you since the beginning. It is not too late. It is not too small. It is not too impossible. It is already alive within you, waiting only for your focus. If you will dare to believe in yourself, if you will dare to persist in your vision, if you will dare to live as though it were already true, then nothing can stop it from appearing. For life is not determined by the outer, it is determined by the inner, and the inner is yours alone to command. So take your attention back. Stop scattering it on the lives of others. Stop feeding doubt with comparison. Stop delaying your vision by looking outward for validation. Place your focus where it belongs, on you. For you are the center of your world, the writer of your story, the creator of your destiny. And the moment you remember this and live from it, the outer world will bow to your inner conviction and deliver to you the life you have always known was yours. And so, the call is simple. Take your attention back. Withdraw it from the endless comparisons, the doubts, the distractions, and return it to the only place where change is possible, within yourself. You are not here to chase others, nor to live in their shadow. You are here to embody the vision placed within you, to nurture it with faith, to walk in it as though it were already done. The outer world will always reflect the inner, and the moment you focus fully on yourself, the moment you dare to believe, the moment you choose to persist, life must conform. Everything you seek is already yours, waiting for your recognition. Focus on you, and you will discover that the world has no choice but to rise and mirror the greatness you have accepted within.
Many of you come here seeking techniques, methods, and formulas to manifest your desires. You believe that through effort and struggle, you can bring your dreams into being. But I tell you this, what you seek is already yours. The state you wish to occupy already exists, completed and perfect, waiting only for your conscious acceptance of it. Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. This promise from Scripture reveals the great secret. The answer precedes the call. Your desire, be it for wealth, love, health, or success, already exists as a living reality in the fourth dimensional world. Your work is not to make it real, but to appropriate it through the wonderful human imagination. Let me explain what I mean. We live in a world of 3 dimensions: length, width, and height, and we move through the 4th dimension of time. But time, as you experience it sequentially, is merely a concept created by your consciousness. In truth, all moments past, present, and future exist simultaneously in an eternal now. The future state you desire is not something to be created. It already is. When you say, I want to be wealthy, or I want to be healthy, or I want to be loved, you are acknowledging that these states exist separate from you. You place them in an imaginary future, believing you must journey through time to reach them. But I tell you, these states are present now, and you can step into them immediately through the power of your imagination. Consider this: every state of consciousness exists as a living reality. These states are like rooms in a vast mansion of being. You currently occupy one room, your present state of consciousness. But all other rooms, all other states exist simultaneously. Your journey is not one of creation, but of selection and occupation. The Bible tells us, in my Father's house are many mansions. These mansions are not physical dwellings in some distant heaven, but states of consciousness available to you now. Your Father's house is your own wonderful human imagination, and within it are infinite states you may occupy. Tonight I challenge you to stop striving to make your desires real through effort and anxious labor. Instead, I invite you to relax and receive what is already yours. How do you do this? Through the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you were now the person you wish to be, how would you feel? If you possess now what you desire to possess, what would be your reaction? By capturing and maintaining this feeling, you make your desired future your present reality. Many years ago, a man came to me in desperate circumstances. He was financially ruined, estranged from his family and living in a small room with barely enough to eat. He had tried everything, worked hard, sought help from others, even prayed in the conventional sense, but nothing had changed. I asked him, if things were different, what would be the first thing you would do? After a moment's reflection, he said, I would call my daughter. Before everything fell apart, we spoke every Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. That's what I miss most. I told him tonight at 6 o'clock, sit quietly in your room. Close your eyes and imagine your telephone ringing. Hear it clearly. Now imagine picking up the receiver and hearing your daughter's voice. Hear her telling you she's been thinking about you and wanted to resume your Sunday calls. Feel the joy of reconnection. Feel the naturalness of the conversation, as though your separation had never occurred. Do this with complete faith that what you are experiencing in imagination is a present reality. The man followed my instructions, and 3 days later, at 6 in the evening, his telephone rang. It was his daughter speaking almost the exact words he had heard in his imagination. Within a month, their relationship was fully restored, and through a series of events that seemed miraculous, but were in fact lawful, his financial situation reversed completely. What happened? Did this man create a new reality? No, he simply stepped into a state, a mansion that already existed. He relaxed his conscious resistance and received what was already his. Many of you struggle because you are trying to make something happen. You push, you plan, you worry, and you work all to bring about what already exists. Your anxiety and effort actually prevent you from receiving your desire, for they affirm its absence rather than its presence. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. These words invite you to cease your struggle and enter the Sabbath of consciousness where all is complete. The Sabbath is not a day of the week, but a state of consciousness where you rest from your labors. The creative process is finished. All states exist. Your task is to select the state that corresponds to your desire and enter it consciously through imagination. Having entered, you rest in the conviction that what you are experiencing imaginatively is now a fact in your world. This brings us to an important point. The feeling of your wish fulfilled must become your dominant feeling. It is not enough to imagine once and then return to your former state of consciousness. You must persist in the new state until it becomes your natural dwelling place. Consider a room filled with the fragrance of roses. When you enter, you are immediately aware of the scent, but remain there long enough and you no longer notice it, not because it has diminished, but because you have become one with it. So it is with a new state of consciousness. At first it feels strange, even unnatural, but persistent, soon it becomes your new normal, and the outer world reshapes itself to match your inner assumption. Now many ask me, how long must I persist before my desire becomes manifest in the three-dimensional world? This question itself reveals a misunderstanding, for it places the fulfillment in time rather than in consciousness. The outer manifestation is not the fulfillment. The inner assumption is the fulfillment. When you truly assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are already in possession of what you desire. Its appearance in time is merely the shadow following the substance. Nevertheless, I understand the practical nature of your question. The time it takes for the outer manifestation to appear depends on two factors: the naturalness of the state to you and the implications involved in the state. By naturalness, I mean how readily you can feel the state to be your present reality without contradiction or doubt. Some states feel closer to your current consciousness than others. A modest increase in income might feel more natural than sudden wealth. Perfect health might feel more accessible than growing a new limb. The more natural the state feels, the more readily it manifests. By implications, I mean the countless adjustments in your world that must occur for your assumption to become a fact. For one person to receive a specific job, certain people must make specific decisions, paperwork must be processed. Perhaps someone else must vacate the position. These are the bridging incidents that must occur, and they unfold in their own time and sequence. But here is the wonderful truth. You need not concern yourself with these implications or how they will unfold. Your task is simply to maintain the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. The infinite intelligence within you Your own wonderful I am knows exactly how to bring about the conditions necessary for the outer realization of your assumption. I am the way. This statement from Scripture reveals that your consciousness of being your I am is the path to fulfillment. When you say I am, you are declaring your essential being. Whatever follows those two words becomes your reality. Most people complete this statement unconsciously, saying in effect, I am poor, I am unlucky, I am unwanted. And so they remain. But you can consciously choose what follows I am. When you declare I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved, you are selecting a state of consciousness. Persist in these declarations not as affirmations spoken with the lips, but as assumptions felt with the whole being, and you will transform your world. Let me share another experience. A woman attended my lectures who desired marriage. She had dated occasionally but had never found a relationship that promised permanence. After hearing me speak on the law of assumption, she began to imagine herself as a happily married woman. Each night before sleep, she would remove from her imagination her single bed in her small apartment and replace it with a larger bed, which she shared with her husband. She would fall asleep feeling his presence beside her, feeling the weight of a wedding ring on her finger, hearing his breathing in the darkness. During the day, she would pause occasionally and look at her left hand, seeing in imagination the gold band that signified her marriage. She would answer the telephone in her imagination with her married name. In her inner conversations with friends, she would hear herself being addressed as a married woman, and she would feel the naturalness of this state. Within 3 months, she met a man who felt strangely familiar to her, as though she had known him all her life. Their courtship was brief but certain, and within a year of beginning her experiment in consciousness, she was married. The fascinating aspect of this story is that her husband physically resembled the man she had imagined, though she had never consciously constructed his appearance, and their bedroom contained a bed remarkably similar to the one she had imagined. What happened? Did she create her husband through some magical power? No. She entered the state of being happily married merely existed as a living reality. Her consistent assumption drew to her the circumstances, events, and people necessary for its outer expression. Now, some of you might be thinking, this all sounds wonderful, but what about my negative thoughts and doubts? How do I overcome these? This is an important question. Your mind may indeed rebel against your new assumption. It may present evidence from your past or present circumstances that seems to contradict your desired state. This is natural and to be expected. The conscious mind is bound by the evidence of the senses and will initially resist what appears to be a denial of facts. Do not fight these thoughts or try to suppress them. Instead, gently bring your attention back to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Each time doubt arises, acknowledge it without emotion. Then return to the assumption that your desire is already a reality. It is not the absence of doubts that leads to success, but the ability to persist despite them. Remember, the subconscious mind, which is the creative power, accepts what you consciously assume to be true. It does not argue or question. It simply acts on your dominant impression. By consistently returning to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you impress this feeling upon the subconscious until it becomes the dominant feeling. This brings us to a profound truth. Relaxation is essential to the successful use of imagination. When you are tense, anxious, or striving, you close the door to your subconscious. Your assumption must be offered in a state of relaxation for it to be accepted and expressed. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his field. Your assumption, the feeling of your wish fulfilled, is the mustard seed. It contains within it everything necessary for its full expression. But this seed must be planted in the fertile soil of a relaxed consciousness. How do you achieve this relaxation? Begin by physically relaxing your body. Find a comfortable position where you can remain without movement. Close your eyes and breathe deeply and naturally. Feel each part of your body releasing tension. Now, mentally let go of all concerns, all problems, all unfinished business. For this period of imagination, set aside the claims of the outer world. In this state of physical and mental relaxation, you are receptive to new impressions. Now gently assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Do not strain to make it real, simply accept it as real. Feel the naturalness, the of courseness of having what you desire. Many fail in their use of imagination because they try too hard. They strain to visualize clearly or to feel intensely, creating tension that blocks the natural creative process. Imagination works best in a state of relaxed attention, alert, but not tense, focused but not strained. Consider how you remember a pleasant experience from your past. You don't strain to recall it. You simply turn your attention to it, and it unfolds naturally in your consciousness. So it should be with imagining your desire fulfilled. Turn your relaxed attention to it, and let it reveal itself to you. This brings us to another vital aspect of successful imagining, the use of sleep. As you fall asleep, your conscious mind becomes less active, and your subconscious becomes more receptive. This is why Scripture advises commune with your own heart upon your bed, and be still. The moments before sleep are ideal for impressing your desire upon the subconscious. As you drift into slumber, maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Let it be the final impression of the day. Your subconscious will work on this impression throughout the night, integrating it into your consciousness and orchestrating the outer events necessary for its manifestation. Now you might ask, what if I fall asleep before I can fully establish the feeling? Do not worry. The mere intention to fall asleep while holding the feeling is sufficient to initiate the process. With practice, you will find yourself naturally maintaining the feeling as you transition into sleep. Another question commonly asked is, how specific should my imaginal act be? The answer depends on what feels most natural to you. Some find it effective to construct detailed scenes that imply the fulfillment of their desire. Others prefer to focus on the pure feeling of the wish fulfilled without specific details. For example, if your desire is for financial abundance, you might imagine a specific scene, such as looking at a bank statement showing a large balance or receiving congratulations from a friend on your prosperity. Alternatively, you might simply capture the feeling of financial security and freedom, the sense of confidence and peace that comes with abundance. Both approaches are valid. The key is to choose the method that most easily induces the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Remember, it is the feeling that is impressed upon the subconscious, not the details of the scene. This brings us to a crucial distinction, the difference between wishing and assuming. When you wish for something, you place it outside yourself as an object to be obtained in the future. You affirm its absence in your present experience. But when you assume something, you appropriate it as a present fact. You claim it as your own, here and now. The Bible states, whatever you desire when you pray, believe that you have received it, and you will. Note the tense, not you will receive it, but you have received it. This is the secret of effective prayer, to claim in the present what seems to exist only in the future. This concept may seem abstract, but it is actually quite practical. Your present circumstances were created by your past assumptions. They appear solid and unchangeable only because they are the outpicturing of what you previously accepted as real. By changing your assumptions now, you initiate a new sequence of events that will replace the current circumstances with new ones reflecting your new assumption. Let me illustrate this with another experience. A man who attended my lectures was employed in a position far below his capabilities. He had been with the same company for 12 years with minimal advancement. His income was insufficient for his needs, and he felt trapped and unappreciated. After hearing my talks on the law of assumption, he decided to revise his concept of himself and his relationship to his work. Each day he would find a quiet place during his lunch break, close his eyes, and then end in his superior congratulating him on his outstanding contribution to the company. He would hear the words clearly, feel the handshake, and experience the pride of recognition. Furthermore, each night before sleep, he would construct a scene implying an increase in income. He chose to imagine looking at his bank deposit slip and seeing a figure twice his current salary. He would feel the paper in his hands, see the amount clearly, and experience the satisfaction of financial increase. For several weeks, nothing changed externally, but he persisted in his assumption. Then events began to unfold in a remarkable way. A reorganization was announced in his company. His department was restructured, and he was assigned new responsibilities. Within 2 months, he was promoted to a management position with a salary slightly higher than the one he had imagined. Now, here is an interesting point. The specific scene he had imagined his superior congratulating him never occurred exactly as he had visualized it. Yet the essence of his desire, recognition, and financial increase was fully realized. This demonstrates an important principle. The outer conditions may not match your imaginal scene exactly, but they will faithfully reflect the essential feeling of your assumption. This is why I emphasize feeling rather than visualization. Some people struggle to create clear visual images, leading them to believe they cannot effectively use their imagination. But clear visualization is not necessary. What is essential is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Even without clear pictures, you can capture the feeling of having what you desire, and this feeling, impressed upon the subconscious, will express itself in your outer experience. Now let's address a concern that troubles many: the apparent delay between the inner assumption and the outer manifestation. You may have faithfully assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, yet your senses continue to report the old conditions. This seeming contradiction can shake your faith in the law. Remember, the time lag is not a failure of the law, but its normal operation. Just as a seed planted in the ground requires time to germinate and grow before it appears above the surface, so your assumption requires time to develop through the medium of natural events. During this interval between your inner assumption and its outer manifestation, you may experience what I call signs following subtle indications that the law is at work. You might overhear a conversation relating to your desire, receive information that supports your new state, or experience a shift in your own attitudes and reactions. These signs should be acknowledged as confirmation that your assumption is bearing fruit. However, do not make the mistake of looking for signs as proof that the law is working. Such seeking implies doubt and affirms the absence of your desire in the present. Instead, maintain your faithful assumption, knowing that the outer confirmation must come in its own time and way. One of the most powerful aspects of the law of assumption is that it frees you from dependency on others. The conventional belief is that you must influence or change others to achieve your goals. If you desire promotion, you must impress your superior. If you desire love, you must attract and convince a specific person to love you. If you desire increased sales, you must persuade more customers to buy. But the law of assumption reverses this process. Instead of trying to change others, you change yourself, your concept of self, and your assumptions about reality. From this changed consciousness, others respond differently to you. Your superior recognizes your value not because you have manipulated him, but because you have assumed a state of consciousness to which recognition is a natural response. Customers are attracted to your product not because you have convinced them, but because you have assumed the consciousness of success to which increased sales are the natural outcome. Draw nigh to God, and He will draw nigh to you. God in this context is your own wonderful I am, your consciousness of being. As you draw nigh to the feeling of being what you desire to be, that state draws nigh to you, expressing itself through the appropriate channels, individuals, without your conscious orchestra of events. This understanding should bring you great peace. You need not worry about how your desire will be fulfilled or who will help fulfill it. Your task is simply to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and to persist in that assumption. The infinite wisdom within you will arrange the means and methods of expression. Now let me address a question that is often asked. What about the desires of others? If I assume a state that involves someone else, am I not manipulating them or interfering with their free will? This question arises from a misunderstanding of consciousness. There is only one consciousness, individualized in all of us. When you assume a state involving another, you are not manipulating a separate being, but shifting your relationship with an aspect of the one consciousness. Let me clarify this with an example. If you desire a harmonious relationship with someone who currently appears hostile or indifferent, you would assume the feeling of friendship and cooperation with that person. You would imagine conversations characterized by mutual respect and understanding. You would feel the naturalness of a pleasant relationship. Are you thereby forcing the other person to change? No. You are changing your conception of the relationship, and the other person, being part of the one consciousness, will reflect this change. They may never know that you have done any inner work. They will simply find themselves responding to you differently, as if by their own volition. This principle applies to all relationships, personal, professional, and casual. By assuming the state of consciousness to which your desired relationship is the normal response, you allow others to express the highest within them in relation to you. Far from manipulating them, you are giving them the freedom to rise above the limitations of past interactions. Now, a word about detachment. Many spiritual teachings emphasize the importance of detachment from desires, leading some to believe that having strong desires is somehow wrong or unspiritual. This is a misunderstanding of true detachment. Detachment does not mean lack of desire or suppression of desire. It means detachment from the means of fulfillment and from anxiety about results. You should have a clear desire, know exactly what you want, and feel the fulfillment of that desire intensely. But you should be detached from how it will come about and when it will appear in your three-dimensional reality. In other words, be focused on the what, but flexible about the how and when. This combination of definite desire and relaxed detachment creates the ideal condition for manifestation. Finally, let us consider the role of gratitude in the creative process. Gratitude is not merely a virtue or a pleasant emotion. It is a powerful creative force. When you express gratitude for what you have, you acknowledge the fulfillment of desire, placing yourself in the position of having received. More importantly, when you express gratitude for what you desire, as though you have already received it, you affirm its presence in your life. You close the gap between wanting and having. Gratitude for what is yet to appear in the outer world is the ultimate expression of faith in the law. The Bible states, praise God from whom all blessings flow. To praise is to acknowledge, to affirm, to express appreciation for. As you praise and give thanks for your desires already fulfilled, you accelerate its manifestation in your visible world. I encourage you to make gratitude a daily practice. Each morning upon waking and each night before sleeping, give thanks for the fulfillment of your desires. Speak of them as present facts. Acknowledge them as already received and feel the joy of possession. This practice alone, if faithfully maintained, will transform your life. Now, let me address a common concern. What if I have multiple desires? Should I focus on all of them or just one? While it is possible to fulfill multiple desires simultaneously, most people find it more effective to focus primarily on one significant desire at a time, especially when first applying these principles. This concentrated attention allows the feeling of fulfillment to become more vivid and convincing. Choose the desire that, when fulfilled, would bring you the greatest satisfaction or would naturally include or lead to other desires. For example, a desire for a fulfilling career might naturally include financial abundance, creative expression, and meaningful relationships. Once you have selected your primary desire, give it your attention during your dedicated periods of imagination. However, if other desires arise naturally throughout the day, acknowledge them briefly in the state of fulfillment. A momentary feeling of thank you that this too is fulfilled is sufficient. As you become more practiced in the art of assumption, you will find yourself naturally maintaining multiple assumptions simultaneously, just as a skilled pianist can play different melodies with each hand. But in the beginning, simplicity and focus are your allies. Now, I must address the question of action. Some who hear these teachings mistakenly believe that physical action is unnecessary, that they need only imagine and then wait for their desire to appear. This is a misunderstanding of the law. Imagination initiates the creative process, but it does not eliminate action, it inspires and directs action. When you truly assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you naturally take actions consistent with your assumption. These actions are not forced or planned, they flow spontaneously from your changed consciousness. For example, if you assume wealth, you may find yourself more attentive to investment opportunities, more confident in requesting a raise, or more inspired to create a valuable product or service. These actions are not the cause of your wealth, but the expressions of your consciousness of wealth. The difference between action initiated by your assumption and action initiated by anxiety is vast. The first is inspired, effortless, and effective. The second is strained, difficult, and often fruitless. When action flows from the consciousness of already having what you desire, it has a kind of magic to it. Doors open, circumstances arrange themselves favorably, and seeming obstacles become stepping stones. So do not fear action or avoid it. Simply ensure that your action springs from your assumption rather than from a desire to make your assumption true. The subtle distinction is this: you act because your desire is fulfilled, not in order to fulfill your desire. This brings us to a profound truth. The law of assumption transcends all other laws. Physical laws, economic laws, social laws all operate within the framework of your consciousness. Change your consciousness, and you change the operation of all lesser laws. If you assume poverty, the economic laws work to keep you poor, regardless of how hard you work or how much knowledge you acquire. If you assume wealth, these same laws work to bring you prosperity, often through unexpected channels and with minimal effort on your part. This is what Scripture means by "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." The kingdom is your consciousness, and righteousness is the right use of consciousness through assumption. When you place consciousness first, when you faithfully assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, all other things arrange themselves accordingly. I urge you not to make the common mistake of relegating these principles to the realm of theory or philosophy. They are intensely practical, and when applied, produce definite results in your experience. Do not say, "These are beautiful ideas, and someday I will try them." Begin now with whatever desire is most present in your awareness. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, select a desire, something you truly want to be, to do, or to have. Construct a simple scene that would imply the fulfillment of this desire. Perhaps a friend congratulating you, or a glimpse of a document or object that would confirm your achievement. Make it simple, brief, and natural. Now, as you lie in bed, close your eyes and relax completely. Feel your body releasing all tension. Let your mind become quiet, gently setting aside the concerns of the day. In this relaxed state, bring your scene before your mind's eye. Enter it fully, as though it were happening now. See what you would see, hear what you would hear, feel what you would feel. Let the reality of it impress itself upon you. If your mind wanders or doubts arise, gently bring your attention back to the scene. Do not force it. Simply return to it as you would to a pleasant memory. Continue until the scene feels natural, until you have the sense of, yes, this is so. Then release the scene and drift to sleep, knowing that what you have experienced in imagination is now fact in consciousness that must express itself in your outer world. The seed has been planted. Your subconscious will now work faithfully to bring it to flower. In the days that follow, maintain the sense of your wish fulfilled. When doubts or contradictory evidence appears, do not fight or resist. Simply return in your feeling and imagination to the consciousness of fulfillment. Let your assumption be more real to you than the evidence of your senses. Remember, what you are doing is not creating something new, but claiming what already exists in the dimension of fulfilled desires. You are not working to make something happen. You are appropriating what is already accomplished. This is why you can relax and receive, knowing that your future is now. The great secret is this: there is only the present moment. The past exists only in memory, the future only in imagination. Both are expressions of your present consciousness. As you change your consciousness now through the art of assumption, you change both your conception of the past and your experience of the future. Behold, I make all things new. This creative power is yours now, this very moment. Through your human imagination, which is God in operation, you can transcend time. Select any state of consciousness and bring it into your present experience. So I say to you, the future you desire is not remote or uncertain. It is now available to you through the simple act of assumption. Relax your anxious striving, your doubt, your concern for how and when. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and in a way that no one knows, in a time that no one can predict, your assumption will harden into fact. I have shared these principles with thousands over many years, and I have seen lives transformed beyond recognition. Not through struggle, not through manipulation of others, not through complex strategies or systems, but through the faithful application of the law of assumption. What has worked for others will work for you, for the law is no respecter of persons. It responds with mathematical precision to the consciousness of all who apply it. In concluding our discussion tonight, I urge you to test these principles in your own experience. Do not take my word for it. Prove it to yourself. Select a desire, assume its fulfillment, and watch as the seemingly solid world of appearance reshapes itself to match your assumption. And remember, the most challenging part of this practice is not the technique itself, but maintaining your assumption in the face of contrary evidence. The world will present you with facts that seem to deny your assumption. Your senses will report conditions that contradict your chosen state. This is the testing point, the place where faith is refined and strengthened. Stand firm in your assumption. Know that what you are experiencing in imagination is more real, more substantial, and more powerful than what your senses report. The outer world must conform to your inner conviction. It has no choice, for it is only the shadow of your consciousness. You stand at a threshold of infinite possibility. The door to any state of consciousness is open to you. Through your imagination, you can enter any room in your Father's house. Claim it as your own and make it your dwelling place. The future of your dreams is not a distant hope. It is a present reality awaiting your recognition and acceptance. Relax and receive what is already yours. The future is now. As we embark on this exploration together, I want you to remember that everything, yes, everything in your world is a reflection of your consciousness. The experiences you encounter, the people you meet, and the circumstances you face are all projections of your inner state. With this fundamental truth in mind, let us delve into the ways in which kindness, when misunderstood or misapplied, can indeed ruin your life, not in the conventional sense, but in a way that will ultimately lead to your transformation and awakening. Let us begin with the first way. Kindness, when stemming from a place of lack or unworthiness, can ruin your life by perpetuating a false self-image. Now, my dear friends, understand that true kindness is a natural expression of your divine nature. It flows effortlessly from a state of abundance, love, and self-worth. However, many of us have been conditioned to believe that we must be kind in order to be worthy of love, acceptance, or success. We use kindness as a means to fill a perceived void within ourselves. This kind of kindness, let's call it conditional kindness, is not really kindness at all. It is a mask we wear, a performance we put on in hopes of gaining approval, avoiding rejection. When we act from this place, we are not being true to ourselves. We are living in a state of lack, constantly seeking external validation to feel complete. But remember, you are already complete. You are already whole. You are a perfect expression of the divine, lacking nothing. When you perform acts of kindness from this state of lack, you are affirming to the universe that you are incomplete, that you need something outside of yourself to be worthy. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, will continue to reflect this belief back to you. To truly understand this, we must revisit the law of assumption. Whatever you assume to be true, whatever state you occupy in your imagination, must be made manifest in your outer world. If you assume that you need to be kind to be worthy, you will continually find yourself in situations where your worth is questioned, where you feel compelled to prove yourself through acts of kindness. The solution, my friends, is not to cease being kind. Rather, it is to shift your consciousness to a state of completeness, of divine self-worth. From this state, kindness flows naturally, not as a means to an end, but as a joyful expression of your true nature. When you give from your overflow, rather than from a place of lack, you transform not only your own life, but the lives of those around you. Imagine, if you will, that you are a chalice filled to the brim with the purest, most radiant light. This light is your true essence, your divine nature. When you act from this state of fullness, your kindness becomes a natural overflow of this light. It does not deplete you, for you are constantly filled from an infinite source. This is the kindness that transforms, that uplifts, that truly makes a difference in the world. So, my dear listeners, if you find that your acts of kindness are leaving you feeling drained, unappreciated, or somehow less than, pause and examine your state of consciousness. Are you giving from lack or from abundance? Are you seeking to fill a void or expressing your innate completeness? Remember, the outer world is but a reflection of your inner state. Change your concept of self, and you change your world. Now let us move on to the second way in which kindness, when misunderstood, can ruin your life. Kindness, when used as a means of avoiding conflict or suppressing your true feelings, can lead to a life of quiet desperation and unfulfillment. Many of us have been taught that being kind means always putting others first, never saying no, and avoiding any form of conflict. We smile and nod when we want to scream. We agree when we desperately want to disagree. We say yes when every fiber of our being is crying out to say no. This, my friends, is not kindness. This is self-betrayal masked as virtue. True kindness, rooted in self-love and authenticity, sometimes requires us to set boundaries, to speak our truth, even when it may cause temporary discomfort. When we consistently suppress our true feelings and desires in the name of being kind, we are denying our own divine nature. We are telling the universe that our needs, our desires, our very essence is less important than maintaining a facade of harmony. But remember, you are here to be fully, gloriously, unabashedly you. You are a unique expression of the divine with your own desires, your own path, your own purpose. When you consistently deny this in the name of misguided kindness, you are not only doing yourself a disservice, but you are denying the world the gift of your authentic self. Imagine, if you will, a beautiful instrument, perhaps a violin of the finest craftsmanship. This violin was created to produce the most exquisite music. But what if, in the name of kindness, this violin never allowed itself to be played? What if it remained silent, fearing that its music might disturb others or create conflict? The world would be robbed of its beautiful melodies, and the violin would never fulfill its purpose. You, my dear friends, are like this violin. You have within you a unique song, a divine melody that only you can play. When you silence yourself in the name of misguided kindness, you deny the world your music. You deny yourself the joy of full self-expression. So how do we remedy this? The answer lies, as always, in our consciousness. We must shift our concept of kindness from one of self-denial to one of authentic self-expression. True kindness includes kindness to oneself. It includes honoring your own needs, speaking your truth, and allowing yourself to be fully seen and heard. This doesn't mean becoming selfish or inconsiderate of others. Rather, it means finding a balance between honoring yourself and considering others. It means recognizing that your needs and feelings are just as valid and important as anyone else's. It means understanding that by being true to yourself, you give others permission to do the same. When you operate from this state of authentic kindness, you'll find that your relationships become deeper, more genuine. You'll attract people who appreciate and respect the real you, not just the agreeable facade you've been presenting. You'll find yourself in situations that truly align with your desires and values, rather than those you've reluctantly agreed to out of a misplaced sense of obligation. Remember, the world doesn't need another martyr. The world needs you, the real, authentic, fully expressed you. That is the greatest kindness you can offer. Now let us explore the third way in which kindness, when misapplied, can ruin your life. Kindness, when used as a means of controlling outcomes or manipulating others, can lead to disappointment, resentment, and a distorted view of relationships. Many of us, consciously or unconsciously, use kindness as a sort of cosmic bargaining chip. We believe that if we are kind enough, giving enough, selfless enough, the universe or the people in our lives will reward us with what we desire. We give with the expectation of receiving. We are kind with the hope that this kindness will be returned. In essence, we are trying to control the behavior of others and the outcomes in our lives through our acts of kindness. But my dear friends, this is not how the universe operates. The law of assumption tells us that it is not our actions but our state of consciousness that creates our reality. When we give with the expectation of receiving, we are operating from a state of lack. We are assuming that we need to manipulate external circumstances to get what we want, rather than assuming the state of already having our desire fulfilled. This kind of conditional kindness often leads to disappointment and resentment. Where our kindness is not reciprocated in the way we expect, we feel cheated, unappreciated. We may even become bitter, thinking, after all I've done for them, this is how they treat me. But in reality, we were never truly giving. We were engaging in a transaction with kindness as our currency. True kindness, my friends, comes with no strings attached. It is not a means to an end, but an end in itself. It is a natural expression of our divine nature, flowing from a state of abundance and love. When we give from this state, we do so joyfully, with no expectation of return. We give because giving is its own reward. Imagine, if you will, a beautiful rose bush in full bloom. Does the rose demand anything in return for its beauty? Does it withhold its fragrance from those who do not appreciate it enough? No, the rose simply is. It blooms because that is its nature. Its beauty and fragrance are given freely to all who pass by, whether they stop to admire it or not. You, my dear listeners, are like this rose. Your kindness, your love, your divine essence is meant to be expressed freely, not as a means of control or manipulation, but as a natural overflow of who you truly are. To shift from conditional kindness to true unconditional kindness, we must once again turn to our imagination. We must assume the state of already having all that we desire. From this state of completeness, of abundance, kindness flows naturally with no need for reciprocation. Imagine yourself as a being of pure light, radiating love and kindness in all directions. This light doesn't discriminate. It doesn't calculate. It simply shines because that is its nature. From this state, your kindness becomes a gift to yourself as much as to others. It becomes a joyful expression of your true nature rather than a means to an end. When you operate from this state, you'll find that your relationships transform. You'll no longer feel the need to keep score or expect anything in return for your kindness. You'll be free to give without attachment, to love without condition. And paradoxically, you'll likely find that you receive more than ever before. Not because you're manipulating others through kindness, but because you're aligning yourself with the abundant, giving nature of the universe. Now let us delve into the fourth and final way in which kindness, when misunderstood, can ruin your life. Kindness, when it becomes a fixed identity rather than a fluid expression, can limit your growth and prevent you from fully embodying all aspects of your divine nature. Many of us, in our quest to be good people, latch onto kindness as a primary identity. We pride ourselves on being the kind one, the nice guy, the one who always helps others. While this may seem noble on the surface, it can actually become a cage that limits our full self-expression and prevents us from growing into the multifaceted beings we truly are. You see, my dear friends, you are not just kind. You are not just any one thing. You are a divine, infinite being capable of embodying all states of consciousness. You contain within you the potential for every human quality and experience. When you fixate on kindness as your primary identity, you may inadvertently suppress other aspects of yourself that are equally valid and necessary for your growth and the fulfillment of your purpose. There are times when we need to be firm, when we need to say no, when we need to express anger or disappointment. There are times when we need to be selfish in order to honor our own needs and boundaries. There are times when we need to be competitive, assertive, or even ruthless in pursuit of our goals. All of these states are part of the human experience, and all have their place in a fully lived life. But if we've built our identity around being the kind one, we may find ourselves unable to access these other states when they're needed. We may struggle to stand up for ourselves, to compete effectively, to express our anger in healthy ways. We may find ourselves stuck in situations that no longer serve us because we're afraid that leaving or saying no would be unkind. Remember, my friends, that consciousness is fluid. It is ever-changing, ever-evolving. Your true identity is not any fixed state or quality, but the awareness that can embody all states. You are the actor who can play any role, the artist who can paint with all colors. To truly understand this, we must once again turn to the power of imagination. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself as a vast, clear sky. In this sky, various clouds form and dissipate, clouds of kindness, clouds of anger, clouds of joy, clouds of sadness. Notice how the sky remains unchanged, unaffected by the clouds that pass through it. It doesn't cling to the gentle, wispy clouds and reject the dark, stormy ones. It simply allows all clouds to form and pass. You are this sky. Your true self, your I am, is this vast, unchanging awareness. Kindness, like all states, is simply a cloud passing through you. It is an expression of you, but it is not you. When you truly understand and embody this truth, you free yourself from the limitations of any fixed identity. You become able to express kindness when kindness is called for, firmness when firmness is needed, anger when anger is appropriate. You become fluid, adaptable, able to meet each moment with exactly what's required. This doesn't mean that kindness becomes less important or less valuable. On the contrary, when kindness is no longer a fixed identity but a chosen expression, it becomes more genuine, more powerful. It becomes a conscious choice rather than a compulsive behavior or a means of maintaining an image. Imagine, if you will, a skilled martial artist. This martial artist is capable of great power and even violence when necessary. But it is precisely because they have cultivated this power that they can also choose gentleness. Their kindness is not born of weakness or fear, but of strength and conscious choice. You, my dear listeners, are like this martial artist. By embracing all aspects of your being, by allowing yourself to embody all states, you actually enhance your capacity for true kindness. You become kind not because you must, not because it's your only option, but because you choose to be in each moment. So how do we put this into practice? How do we free ourselves from the limitations of kindness as a fixed identity while still embracing kindness that is a mere beautiful expression of our divine nature? The key, as always, lies in our imagination. Begin by imagining yourself as that vast, clear sky, allowing all states to pass through you without clinging to any of them. Practice embodying different states in your imagination. Feel what it's like to be kind, then to be firm, then to be angry, then to be joyful. Notice how the awareness behind all these states remain unchanged. In your daily life, start paying attention to the states you embody. Are there situations where you default to kindness out of habit or fear, even when another response might be more appropriate? Practice allowing yourself to respond authentically in each moment, rather than always falling back on kindness as a default. Remember, this is not about rejecting kindness. It's about freeing kindness from the confines of a fixed identity and allowing it to become a fluid, authentic expression of your true self.
As you practice this, you may find that your kindness actually becomes more powerful and genuine. You may find that you're able to set boundaries more effectively, to say no when necessary, to stand up for yourself and others in ways you couldn't before. You may find that you're able to pursue your goals with more determination and focus, knowing that you can be kind and assertive, gentle and strong.
My dear friends, as we come to the end of our exploration of these 4 ways in which kindness, when misunderstood, can ruin your life, I want to emphasize that this is not an indictment of kindness itself. Kindness, in its truest form, is a beautiful expression of our divine nature. It has the power to transform lives, to heal wounds, to bridge divides. What we've been discussing is not kindness itself, but the misunderstandings and misapplications of kindness that can limit us and keep us from fully expressing our true selves. By recognizing and moving beyond these limitations, we actually enhance our capacity for genuine kindness. Let us recap what we've discovered. First, we learned that kindness stemming from a place of lack or unworthiness can perpetuate a false self-image. The solution is to shift our consciousness to a state of completeness and divine self-worth, allowing kindness to flow naturally from our overflow. Second, we explored how kindness used as a means of avoiding conflict or suppressing our true feelings can lead to weak desperation. We learned that true kindness includes kindness to oneself, honoring our own needs and speaking our truth. Third, we discussed how kindness used as a means of controlling outcomes or manipulating others can lead to disappointment and resentment. We discovered that true kindness comes with no strings attached, flowing freely from a state of abundance. Finally, we examined how kindness, when it becomes a fixed identity, can limit our growth and prevent us from fully embodying all aspects of our divine nature. We learned to see ourselves as the vast awareness that can embody all states, including but not limited to kindness. Now, my dear friends, I invite you to take these insights and apply them in your own life. Begin to observe your acts of kindness. Are they coming from a place of lack or abundance? Are you using kindness to avoid conflict or to manipulate outcomes? Have you made kindness a fixed identity that's limiting your full self-expression? As you become aware of these patterns, don't judge yourself. Simply observe. And then, using the power of your wonderful human imagination, begin to shift your consciousness. Imagine yourself as that chalice overflowing with life, giving from your abundance. Imagine yourself speaking your truth with kindness and authenticity. Imagine yourself giving freely, with no expectation of return. Imagine yourself as that vast, clear sky able to embody all states as needed. Remember, you are not here to be just kind. You are here to be fully, gloriously, unabashedly you. You are here to express all aspects of your divine nature. Kindness is a beautiful part of that nature, but it is not the whole of it. As you liberate kindness from misunderstanding and limitation, you'll likely find that your capacity for true kindness actually expands. You'll find yourself able to be kind in ways you never imagined before. Kind to yourself as well as others, kind in your truth-telling as well as your comforting. Kind in your boundaries as well as your giving. This, my friends, is the paradox and the promise of our exploration today. By examining how kindness can ruin your life, we've actually discovered how to enhance and deepen our capacity for genuine kindness. We've uncovered a path to a more authentic, more empowered, more fully expressed life. So go forth from here with this new awareness. Allow kindness to be a fluid, authentic expression of your true self rather than a limitation or a means to an end. Embody the state of already being all that you desire to be, and let your kindness flow naturally from that state of completeness. Remember, you are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness creates your reality. As you shift your consciousness around kindness, you'll find your outer world shifting to match. You'll attract relationships and circumstances that honor your authentic self-acting. You'll find yourself able to give and receive kindness in new and beautiful ways. This is the promise and the invitation I leave you with today. It is the call to step fully into your power as a divine creator, to embody all aspects of your true nature, including but not limited to kindness. It is the opportunity to transform not only your own life, but the lives of all those you touch. For when you express kindness from a place of wholeness, authenticity, and conscious choice, you become a living example of what's possible. You inspire others to do the same. And in this way, one person at a time, we can transform our world. So go forth, my dear friends, and be kind, not because you should, not because you must, but because you choose to, from the infinite wellspring of your divine nature. Be kind, and be all else that you are as well. For in embracing the fullness of your being, you fulfill your highest purpose and express your truest self. Thank you. And may your journey of self-discovery and authentic expression bring you to the full realization of your divine natures and the complete manifestation of your heart's desires. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have everything they desire, while others struggle their entire lives? The difference isn't luck, intelligence, or even hard work. It's something far more powerful, something I discovered that transformed my life in just 7 days. Today, I'm going to share with you the 5 habits that will revolutionize your existence. But before I do, I need you to understand something crucial. Everything you're about to hear has been tested, proven, and verified not just by me, but by thousands who've applied these principles. Let's start with habit number 1, the morning mental diet. This habit alone has the power to reshape your entire reality. Here's exactly how to do it. When you first wake up, don't move. Keep your eyes closed. For the next 15 minutes, you're going to enter what I call the creation zone. In this state, your brain waves are perfectly aligned for programming your subconscious mind. Begin by feeling your desired reality. Notice I'm not saying visualize, I'm saying feel. If you want financial abundance, feel the sensation of checking your bank account and seeing millions. Feel the texture of the leather seats in your dream car. Feel the ocean breeze on your face as you sit on the balcony of your beach house. I remember when I first started this practice, I was sleeping on a hard mattress in a cramped room, but every morning I would feel the sensation of waking up in my dream home. I felt the plush carpet under my feet, the warmth of the morning sun streaming through floor to ceiling windows, the peace of achieving everything I desired. Within days, my external reality began shifting to match my internal experience. This isn't coincidence, it's law. Habit number 2, the constant state. This habit is about maintaining your desired state throughout the day. Most people let their circumstances dictate their state of mind. We're going to reverse that. When you walk, walk as if you've already achieved everything you desire. When you talk, speak from the perspective of someone who has it all. When you breathe, breathe as if you're already living your dream life. This isn't pretending. It's assuming the natural state of who you really are. Think about how you'd carry yourself if you were already successful. How would your posture be? How would you interact with others? How would you respond to challenges? I practice this everywhere, at the grocery store, in meetings, while driving. Instead of letting my current circumstances affect my state, I maintained the feeling of my wish fulfilled. The results were immediate and astounding. Habit number 3, the financial feeling. This habit transformed my relationship with money overnight. Every time you interact with money, spending it, receiving it, even thinking about it, maintain the feeling of unlimited abundance. Here's the key to the financial feeling. When you pay bills, feel genuine gratitude for your ability to circulate money. When you buy something, feel the joy of endless prosperity. Even when you see expensive items, feel the natural comfort of knowing you can easily afford them. I remember standing in front of luxury stores, feeling the natural sensation of being able to buy anything I desired, not from a place of lack or wanting, but from a place of knowing it was already mine. This leads us to habit number 4, the nightly review. This habit is what I call the subconscious programming session. Before sleep, your mind enters a highly receptive state. This is when you can implant your desires directly into your subconscious. Lie in bed and replay your perfect day. Not the day you just had, but the day you want to have. Feel yourself waking up in your dream home. Experience the satisfaction of achieving your goals. Feel the joy of your ideal relationships. I would lie there feeling the sensation of closing million-dollar deals, of impacting thousands of lives, of living in complete abundance. I didn't just imagine these scenes, I felt them with every fiber of my being. The 5th habit is what I call the identity shift. This is perhaps the most powerful of all. Instead of trying to change your circumstances, you change who you are at the core level. Most people try to change their lives from the outside in. They think if I get more money, a better job, or a perfect relationship, they'll finally become the person they want to be. But that's backwards. You must first become that person in your mind. Feel what it's like to be confident, successful, and fulfilled. Don't ask yourself what you need to do to become successful. Ask yourself what a successful person would do, and then naturally do those things. I remember the exact moment this clicked for me. I stopped trying to become successful and simply assumed the identity of someone who already was. My walk changed, my talk changed, my decisions changed, all naturally, all effortlessly. These 5 habits work together in perfect harmony. The morning mental diet programs your day. The constant state maintains that programming. The financial feeling transforms your relationship with abundance. The nightly review deepens the impression, and the identity shift makes it all permanent. But here's what most people don't understand. These habits aren't about changing your actions. They're about changing your state of consciousness. When your consciousness changes, your actions change automatically. Think about it. How does a wealthy person make decisions? How does a confident person handle challenges? How does a successful person view opportunities? When you assume these states of consciousness, you naturally take the actions that create these results. Let me share with you how these habits create lasting transformation. Most people try to change their lives through willpower and struggle, but that's like trying to push a boulder uphill. These habits work with the natural laws of consciousness. Consider this: every morning when you practice the mental diet, you're actually reprogramming your subconscious mind. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined with feeling. It simply accepts whatever you impress upon it. I discovered that the key is persistence. When I first started, my logical mind would argue, saying this isn't real. But I persisted in maintaining the feeling of my desired reality. Within days, my external world began rearranging itself to match my internal state. Let me show you how to deepen these habits. With the constant state, you must understand that every moment is an opportunity to reinforce your new reality. When you're standing in line at the coffee shop, feel wealthy. When you're stuck in traffic, feel successful. When you're waiting for an elevator, feel accomplished. I remember catching myself slipping back into old patterns of thought. But instead of fighting these thoughts, I would gently return to my desired state. It's like training a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it becomes. The financial feeling requires a complete shift in how you view money. Most people feel tension, worry, or lack when dealing with money. You must train yourself to feel relaxed, confident, and abundant in all financial situations. When I began this practice, I would walk into expensive stores and feel completely at home. I would look at luxury cars and feel the natural sensation of ownership. I would read about million-dollar deals and feel completely comfortable with those numbers. The nightly review becomes more powerful when you add emotional intensity to your scenes. Don't just passively observe your desired reality. Be fully immersed in it. Feel the textures, hear the sounds, experience the emotions. I would spend hours perfecting my scenes, making them more vivid, more real, more alive. The key is to feel the naturalness of your desired state. It shouldn't feel like fantasy. It should feel like memory. The identity shift is where all these habits culminate. You're not just changing your thoughts or actions, you're changing who you are at the deepest level. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about awakening to who you truly are. Think about how master pianist plays. They don't think about each note, they express their mastery naturally. That's how these habits should feel. They should become as natural as breathing. Let me reveal something profound about these habits that most people never realize. Every single moment of your day is either reinforcing your old reality or creating your new one. There is no neutral ground. When you're practicing the morning mental diet, you're not just daydreaming, you're actually selecting which version of reality you'll experience. Think of it like tuning a radio to a specific frequency. The station you tune into determines what you'll hear. I discovered that the key to making this habit unstoppable is to focus on the feeling tone of your desire. If you want wealth, don't just imagine money. Feel the security, the freedom, the peace that comes with abundance. Make it so real that your palms tingle with the sensation. The constant state becomes even more powerful. When you understand this, your current circumstances are just shadows of past thinking. They have no power to dictate your state unless you give them that power. This was a game changer for me. When I faced challenges or setbacks, instead of reacting to them, I would immediately shift to the feeling of my desire fulfilled. If someone questioned my goals, I maintained my state. If circumstances seemed contrary to my desires, I persisted in my chosen state. Here's something critical about the financial feeling that transformed my entire relationship with money. Money is just frozen desire. When you maintain the feeling of abundance, you're actually melting that frozen energy and allowing it to flow freely in your life. I remember standing in line at the grocery store, watching others stress about prices. But I had trained myself to feel wealthy regardless of my bank balance. Every transaction became an opportunity to circulate abundance, to feel the joy of prosperity. The nightly review becomes magnetic when you add this dimension. As you're reviewing your perfect day, feel the satisfaction of already having lived it. Don't preview it, review it. This subtle shift makes all the difference. I would lie in bed feeling the profound gratitude of another successful day, even before that day had physically manifested. I felt the handshakes, heard the congratulations, experienced the joy of achievements as if they had already happened. The identity shift deepens when you realize this truth. You're not becoming someone new. You're remembering who you truly are. This isn't about change, it's about recognition. You're simply recognizing your true unlimited nature. Most people think success is about doing, but it's really about being. When you shift your identity, the doing follows naturally. I stopped trying to figure out how to become successful and simply started being successful in my mind and emotions. Here's something few understand about these habits. They work on the principle of assumption. When you assume something is true, your subconscious mind must make it so. It has no choice. It's like giving it a direct command. Let me share something revolutionary about these habits that changed everything for me. Most people think time is linear, that tomorrow comes after today. But when you master these habits, you realize time is actually simultaneous. All possibilities exist now. The morning mental diet becomes exponentially more powerful when you grasp this. You're not creating something new. You're selecting from infinite existing possibilities. Every morning, as you lie there feeling your desired reality, you're actually tuning into a version of you that already has everything you want. I discovered that consistency is crucial. Even if you don't feel like doing it, even if your logical mind argues against it, you must maintain these practices. It's like building a fire. You can't light it once and expect it to burn forever. You must tend to it. The constant state takes on new meaning when you understand this principle. Your external world is nothing but your internal world pushed up. Everything you see, every person you meet, every circumstance you encounter is simply showing you your previous state of consciousness. This was mind-blowing for me. I realized that when I maintained my desired state throughout the day, I wasn't just pretending. I was actually shifting the entire universe to match my consciousness. Every moment became an opportunity for transformation. Let me share a deeper aspect of the financial feeling that most never grasp. Money is just a symbol of exchange, but abundance is a state of being. When you maintain the feeling of abundance, you're not just attracting money, you're becoming the very essence of prosperity. I remember walking into stores and feeling completely different about prices. Instead of seeing something as expensive, I would feel genuine appreciation for its value. Instead of wondering if I could afford something, I naturally knew everything was within my means. The nightly review becomes transformative. When you add this dimension, as you're reviewing your perfect day, feel the relief of knowing it's done. Feel the satisfaction of completion. Feel the natural assumption that this is simply your way of life now. I would lie there feeling the weight of achievement, the warmth of accomplishment, the peace of knowing my desires were already fulfilled. This wasn't hope or wishful thinking. It was a knowing beyond all doubt. The identity shift deepens when you realize this truth. Every version of you already exists. The successful you, the wealthy you, the confident you, they're all present now. You're not creating these versions, you're selecting which one to experience. Think about this. When you change channels on a TV, you're not creating new programs. You're tuning into broadcasts that already exist. Similarly, when you shift your identity, you're tuning into a version of you that already exists in infinite possibility. These habits work together in perfect harmony because they all operate on the same principle, the principle of consciousness. Whatever you're conscious of, you must experience. Whatever you feel is real must become real. Let me reveal something that will fundamentally change how you understand these habits. Most people think success requires years of hard work, but I discovered that success happens in an instant. The instant you fully accept your desired state as real. Think about this when you're practicing the morning mental diet. You're not just visualizing a better future. You're actually stepping into a new dimension of yourself. Each morning becomes a portal to infinite possibilities. This is why the first 15 minutes of your day are sacred. I remember the exact moment this clicked for me. Instead of starting my day with worry and rush preparation, I would lie there in complete serenity, feeling my desired reality with such intensity that my current circumstances seemed like a distant dream. Here's a crucial aspect of the constant state that most miss. Your state of consciousness is your real environment. The physical world you see is just a shadow of past states. When you maintain your desired state throughout the day, you're actually living in your new reality because visible to others. Let me share something profound about maintaining your state. Every person you encounter, every situation you face, is actually an opportunity to reinforce your new reality. When someone talks about limitation, silently maintain your state of abundance. When circumstances appear challenging, intensify your feeling of success. The financial feeling becomes revolutionary when you understand this. Money doesn't flow to you. It flows through you. When you maintain the feeling of unlimited abundance, you become a channel for wealth. Every financial transaction becomes a celebration of prosperity. I would look at my bank account with the same feeling regardless of the numbers shown. I would pay bills with genuine joy, knowing that every dollar spent would return multiplied. I would treat myself to quality experiences, maintaining the natural feeling that I could afford anything I truly desired. The nightly review takes on new power when you grasp this. Your subconscious mind is most receptive in the last moments before sleep. This is when you can impress your desires most deeply. It's like programming tomorrow while you sleep. I would create scenes so vivid, so real, that my physical reality seemed like the dream. I would feel the texture of success, hear the sounds of achievement, experience the emotions of fulfillment with such intensity that my subconscious had no choice but to accept them as real. The identity shift becomes unstoppable. When you realize this, you are not your past thoughts, your current circumstances, or your future hopes. You are pure consciousness capable of assuming any state you desire. This is true power. Most people try to change their lives by changing their actions, but I discovered that when you change your identity, your actions change automatically. You don't have to force yourself to act successful. You naturally do what a successful person would do, because you're operating from that state of consciousness. Here's something crucial about these habits. They're not separate practices. They're different aspects of the same truth. The truth that your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, your body, your environment, your circumstances, is just consciousness pushed out into form. The morning mental diet becomes transformative when you realize this. In those first moments of waking, your brain operates in theta waves, the same state heed by advanced meditators. This is why those 15 minutes are more powerful than hours of affirmations during the day. I remember experiencing this profound truth. During these morning sessions, I wasn't just imagining success, I was actually experiencing success at a neurological level. My brain couldn't distinguish between my imagined reality and physical reality, creating new neural pathways of achievement. Here's the deeper aspect of the constant state that changed everything. Every emotion you feel throughout the day is actually a choice. When you understand this, you realize you can choose to feel successful, wealthy, and fulfilled regardless of external circumstances. Think about this, your current reality is just a shadow of past emotional states. When you maintain your desired emotional state consistently, you're actually creating your future reality. Every moment becomes a point of power, a chance to reinforce your new state of being. The financial feeling transforms when you grasp this principle. Money is just crystallized consciousness. When you maintain the feeling of abundance, you're actually altering the energy field around you. This is why opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere when you master this habit. I discovered that every financial transaction is actually an energy exchange. When I bought coffee, paid rent, or made any purchase, I maintained the feeling that I was circulating abundance, not losing money. This subtle shift created a constant flow of prosperity in my life. The nightly review becomes magical when you understand this. Your subconscious mind processes information in symbols and feelings. When you review your perfect day before sleep, you're actually feeding your subconscious mind a new blueprint for reality. I would lie there feeling the satisfaction of closed deals, the joy of achievement, the peace of financial freedom. But here's the key. I wouldn't just imagine these scenes, I would feel them with such intensity that my body responded as if they were actually happening. The identity shift reaches new depths when you realize this truth. Your identity isn't something you create. It's something you select from infinite possibilities. Just as a radio can tune into different stations, your consciousness can tune into different versions of you. This understanding transformed how I approach change. Instead of trying to become something new, I simply tuned into the version of me that already had everything I desired. The struggle disappeared, replaced by a natural assumption of my chosen state. Here's something profound about these habits. They work on the principle of resonance. Whatever state you maintain consistently becomes your dominant frequency, and the universe must respond by bringing you experiences that match that frequency. The morning mental diet becomes even more crucial. When you understand this, those first 15 minutes are actually programming the quantum field. When you feel your desired reality with intensity, you're not just affecting your mind, you're reorganizing the very fabric of reality. I discovered that during these morning sessions, maintaining pure focus is essential. Any doubt, any questioning of how create static in the quantum field. The key is to feel with such completeness that questions become irrelevant. You simply know it's done. Here's something profound about the constant state that few understand. Every moment of your day is a choice point in quantum reality. Each time you maintain your desired state despite contrary evidence, you're actually collapsing quantum possibilities into your chosen reality. Think about this. When you're in line at a store, sitting in traffic, or facing any situation that would normally trigger negative emotions, you have a quantum opportunity. By maintaining your desired state, you're actually selecting which parallel reality you'll experience next. The financial feeling becomes extraordinary when you grasp this principle. Money is just frozen time and energy. When you maintain the feeling of unlimited abundance, you're actually altering the quantum field that governs financial flow. I remember walking past expensive stores, looking at luxury items, and feeling complete ownership, not from a place of wanting, but from a place of having. This wasn't pretense, it was selecting from infinite quantum possibilities the reality where these things were already mine. The nightly review takes on cosmic significance when you understand this. During sleep, Your consciousness interfaces directly with the quantum field. Your nightly scene review isn't just programming your mind, it's programming reality itself. I would lie there feeling the absolute naturalness of my desires fulfilled. I discovered that the key isn't to reach for the feeling, but to settle into it like sinking into a comfortable chair. The more natural it feels, the more quickly it manifests. The identity shift becomes reality altering when you grasp this truth. You are not a physical being trying to affect the quantum field. You are the quantum field expressing itself as a physical being. This understanding changes everything. Most people think they need to overcome their circumstances. But I discovered that circumstances are just crystallized consciousness. When you shift your identity at the quantum level, circumstances must shift to match your new frequency. Here's something revolutionary about these habits. They work because they align you with the fundamental nature of reality. Reality isn't solid. It's a responsive field of infinite possibility, constantly shaped by consciousness. Think about this. Every great achievement in history first existed as a state of consciousness in someone's mind. The Wright brothers felt the reality of flight before planes existed. Every inventor, every innovator, every achiever first lived their desire in consciousness. My friends, this time the blessing will be so big you will be left speechless. Not because you earned it, not because you fought for it, but because you finally allowed yourself to believe it was already yours. You see, the outer world is but a mirror of your inner acceptance. Life has always given back to you what you have dared to imagine. And now the magnitude of this blessing is not found in effort, but in surrender, in the quiet knowing that what you desire already exists within you. There are seasons when nothing seems to move, when silence surrounds you and you wonder if heaven has forgotten your name. But hear this truth. The silence is not denial, it is preparation. Before the greatest blessings appear, life often grows still, for the unseen is arranging itself to astonish you. This time will not be like the last. This time the blessing is beyond measure. It will arrive not in fragments, but in fullness, not in pieces, but in overflow. And when it comes, it will come so swiftly, so beautifully, that words will fail you. You will stand in awe of the greatness of what has unfolded. Do not chase, do not beg, do not worry. Simply rest in the assurance that it is already done. Your imagination, your faith, is the womb of creation. And as you hold the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the unseen bends itself to your vision. This blessing will not just meet your need, it will surpass every expectation. It will leave you speechless because it is bigger than anything you could have planned. This time, life will prove to you that what you carry within is far greater than what you see without. So prepare your heart. Live today as though it has already happened. Walk with the joy of one who has received. And soon, the visible will align with your invisible conviction. This blessing, this time, is too big to be ignored. And when it arrives, you will know it was always waiting for you. Imagination creates reality, and whether you are conscious of it or not, every event in your life is born first in the unseen chambers of your mind. Whatever you dare to accept inwardly with conviction, sooner or later must appear outwardly in your world. Most people live as if the physical world is the cause and they are merely reacting to what already exists. They look at circumstances, they judge by appearances, and then they allow those appearances to dictate what they believe is possible. Yet the truth is the exact opposite. The outer world is nothing more than a mirror, faithfully reflecting the state of your inner acceptance. If you wish to change the outer picture, you must first alter the inner vision. When you imagine something with feeling, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your consciousness. That seed may be invisible to the senses, but it is as real as any seed placed in the ground. Just as the earth knows how to bring forth a tree from a tiny kernel, so does life know how to bring forth your imagined state into visible form. The law does not fail. It cannot fail, for imagination is the creative power itself. But here lies the secret. It is not mere daydreaming or idle wishing that brings results, but the acceptance of the desire as already true. The moment you feel yourself in possession of what you long for, the invisible world begins its work. To accept something inwardly means to take it into your consciousness as though it were already accomplished. This is not a passive acceptance, but an active assumption. You deliberately clothe yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You may not know how it will come or through whom it will arrive, but you rest in the conviction that it already belongs to you. This inner acceptance is the real act of creation. What follows in the physical world is only the unfolding of what has already been finished in imagination. Think of every achievement you have ever made, every experience you have lived. Before it became fact, it was first an image within your mind. A house you live in was once a thought in an architect's imagination. The job you hold, the relationships you have, even the clothes you wear. All of these were ideas before they became physical realities. Nothing enters your life by accident. Every detail is shaped by what you dare to imagine and accept as true. Many people sabotage themselves because they imagine negative outcomes more vividly than they imagine blessings. They worry. They replay scenes of fear. They live in states of doubt. And because imagination creates reality without judgment, life reflects back to them the very thing they dread. But you are free at any moment to shift the inner picture. Instead of entertaining lack, you can dare to imagine abundance. Instead of dwelling on rejection, you can inwardly accept love. Instead of fearing failure, you can clothe yourself in the feeling of success. The world outside bends to the inner conviction you carry. It may seem stubborn at first, as if nothing is changing, but persistence in imagination always bears fruit. What you dare to assume inwardly with faith and persistence must harden into fact. Reality has no choice but to echo the state of consciousness you inhabit. Imagination is not a fantasy. It is the very power shaping your destiny. What you accept inwardly today is the life you will walk into tomorrow. This blessing is different. It does not resemble the smaller victories or the quiet gifts you have received before. Those were but whispers of what was possible, small signs pointing toward the greater promise. But this time, the blessing carries a magnitude beyond your expectations. It is not a fragment, not a drop in the ocean, but a flood of goodness designed to remind you of the vastness of life's abundance. In the past, you may have celebrated progress in pieces. A door that opened here, a small opportunity there, a little relief after a long struggle. And though each of those blessings was real, they were only shadows of the greater light that was being prepared for you. What is coming now is fullness, not fragments. Often life trains us with little answers before delivering the great ones. It is as though the universe asks, will you trust me in the small things? Will you believe even when all you see is a faint glimmer? Those small blessings strengthen faith. They stretch your imagination. They teach you to receive. But once you have proven willing to believe in what you cannot yet see, once you have chosen to accept the invisible as greater than the visible, a shift takes place. You no longer settle for crumbs. You begin to expect the feast. And it is at that moment that the greater blessing, the one prepared for this very season, begins to take shape. This blessing is different because it will not simply meet a need, it will surpass it. It will not only bring comfort, but transformation. You may have asked for provision, but what is coming is overflow. You may have prayed for a door, but what is coming is a pathway you could not have imagined. This is the nature of the extraordinary. It does not answer in line with human calculation. It breaks beyond the boundaries of expectation. It comes in ways that remind you the source is greater than any channel, and that no limitation has the power to stop what is already destined for you. Past moments may have left you grateful, but still reaching for more. They brought light, yet you still search for fullness. But this time, the blessing will silence every doubt. It will be so undeniable that you will not question whether it is real. It will carry with it a weight, a magnitude that cannot be mistaken. The doors that open will not be fragile. The opportunities will not vanish. The joy will not be fleeting. What you are about to step into is built to last, overflowing in ways that transform not just your circumstances, but the very way you see yourself. There is a reason you have endured the waiting, the stillness, the seasons of uncertainty. Every moment was preparing you for this magnitude. If it had arrived too soon, you would not have been ready to carry it. But now, having walked through those smaller chapters, you have the strength to embrace the fullness. This blessing is different because it is not only for you, it is designed to overflow into every area of your life, touching others, proving the power of unseen faith, and leaving you in awe. What is coming will not just meet your expectations, it will rise above them. And when it does, you will be left speechless. Inner acceptance is the true beginning of every transformation. Nothing in your outer life can shift until you have first shifted within. The moment you accept a desire as already yours, the outer world has no choice but to bow to your inner conviction. Acceptance does not mean hoping or wishing. It is not saying one day, maybe this will come. It is claiming the unseen as if it were already accomplished. It is standing in the quiet confidence that what you seek is not on its way, it is already present, waiting for you to align with it. So many live their lives as though they are beggars, hoping the world will grant them permission to have what they want. They wait for a sign, for external proof, before they dare to believe. But the law of life is the opposite. The proof appears only after the acceptance. It is when you feel it within, when you clothe yourself in the state of having, that the physical world reshapes itself to reflect what you carry in consciousness. Inner acceptance is the invisible handshake with life. The moment you inwardly agree that it is yours, the universe rearranges itself to honor that decision. Circumstances begin to shift, people appear, opportunities unfold, but all of this is secondary. The true cause lies within your conviction. Without acceptance, even the greatest opportunities pass by unnoticed, because you cannot recognize what you have not already claimed in imagination. Think of a person who constantly says, "I will one day be wealthy." Their words may sound hopeful, but inwardly they still see themselves as lacking. Their acceptance is not of wealth, but of delay, of waiting. Life mirrors that state, and they remain stuck in longing. Yet when someone quietly decides, "I am already abundant," and feels it as true in the unseen, their world begins to reflect abundance in ways both small and great. Acceptance, not struggle, is the turning point. When you accept something inwardly, you stop chasing it. You no longer beg, plead, or force. You live as though it is done. This state of being releases the tension, and in that release, the creative power flows unhindered. The outer world must conform, for it has no choice but to reflect the reality you inhabit within. This is why The inner act is so important. You cannot deceive the law. You may speak words of faith, but if inwardly you deny them, the outer world hears only the denial. But once the inner acceptance is real, no obstacle can stand in the way. Even if appearances contradict your conviction, they are powerless, for the greater truth has already been planted within you. The moment of true acceptance is the moment creation is finished. From that point on, you need not struggle. Life will bow to your conviction, and what was unseen will be made visible. The secret is simple. Live now as though it is already done. Feel the joy, the peace, the gratitude of having received, and the outer world will echo your inner state with precision. The blessing becomes inevitable because the victory was won the moment you accepted it within. Silence before the breakthrough is one of life's greatest mysteries, and yet it is the most certain sign that something extraordinary is about to unfold. Often the quietest seasons precede the loudest miracles. When nothing seems to move, when doors appear closed, and when your prayers echo back in silence, it is not abandonment you are experiencing, but preparation. The unseen realm is at work, aligning people, circumstances, and opportunities that will one day burst forth so suddenly that you will forget the stillness that came before. Many mistake silence for denial. They believe that if nothing changes outwardly, then nothing is happening inwardly. But silence is not denial, it is gestation. Just as a seed lies buried in the ground, invisible to the eye, yet silently transforming into roots and stems, so too does your desire grow in the unseen before it bursts into visibility. You cannot rush the seed from the soil, nor can you force life to reveal the blessing before its time. The silence is sacred because it is proof that creation is unfolding beyond the reach of your senses. In these quiet seasons, the temptation is to give up, to doubt, to assume you have been forgotten. Yet the truth is the opposite. Silence is evidence of activity beyond your sight. When the surface looks still, the deepest work is being done. The unseen currents are stronger than the waves you notice. It is in the silence that your inner conviction is tested, and it is your persistence during this stillness that determines how quickly the breakthrough will manifest. The silence before the miracle is not empty, it is full of arrangements you cannot yet perceive, full of answers that are forming, full of connections that will one day make sense. To your senses, it feels like nothing. To your spirit, it is everything. The silence is where faith proves itself real. Anyone can believe when they see signs, but only those who believe in the silence taste the fullness of the promise. When a great symphony is about to reach its climax, there is often a pause, a breath, a moment of stillness before the sound explodes in power. That pause is not a mistake, it is intentional. It prepares the ear, it builds anticipation, and it makes the climax all the more breathtaking. So too in life. The silence is the pause before the music of your breakthrough fills the air. Without the pause, the miracle would not carry the same power. You may be in such a season now, where prayers feel unanswered, where nothing seems to shift. Do not despise the silence. Do not mistake it for defeat. Know instead that you are in the final stretch before the floodgates open. The silence is proof that something vast is aligning for you, greater than you could arrange by yourself. The quietest seasons carry the greatest promises. The silence is the womb of the miracle, and when the breakthrough comes, it will not trickle. It will roar. It will arrive so loudly, so undeniably, that you will understand why the silence lasted as long as it did. The miracle will speak for itself, and the stillness that preceded it will only amplify its glory. Faith in the unseen is the foundation of all creation. What you cannot yet touch with your senses is already forming in the unseen realm, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. Most people trust only what they can see, hear, or hold in their hands, And by doing so, they limit themselves to the smallest fraction of life's abundance. Yet the true power lies not in what is already visible, but in what is taking shape beyond the reach of the senses. Faith is the bridge that connects the invisible to the visible, the imagined to the experienced, the promised to the fulfilled. When you understand this, you begin to walk differently. You are no longer swayed by appearances, no longer discouraged by what seems missing. You know that absence in the physical does not mean absence in truth. Just because your eyes cannot yet perceive it does not mean it is not real. Reality begins in the unseen, and the senses catch up later. Faith is choosing to live as though the unseen were more solid than the visible world, because in fact it is. Everything you see around you, the buildings, the technology, the art, the relationships, was once nothing more than an idea, a vision held within someone's unseen imagination. Originally, the imitation results are the perception, what will make you vision, lid. Faith is not blind, it is the clearest vision you can have. It looks beyond the temporary evidence of the senses and holds steady to the eternal truth of what is already forming. When you believe in the unseen, you are not pretending. You are aligning with the deeper reality that precedes manifestation. To others, it may look like madness. They may ask why you smile when nothing has changed, why you celebrate when the blessing has not yet appeared. But you know that celebration itself is proof of faith. By feeling now what others wait to feel later, you are collapsing the distance between the unseen and the seen. The unseen realm is a storehouse of abundance, overflowing with every possibility you can imagine. It is not far away, it is closer than your breath. The moment you desire something and believe it, it begins to take form in that realm. You may not know the steps or the timing, but the process is already alive. Faith is the willingness to stand in that invisible certainty, to rest in the conviction that the unseen is more reliable than appearance. Think of the farmer who plants a seed. He does not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. He knows, though his eyes see only soil, that life is at work beneath the surface. His faith in the unseen allows him to water, to nurture, and to wait with confidence. In the same way, your desires, once accepted inwardly, are seeds planted in the unseen. Faith is the water, persistence is the sunlight, and time itself will reveal what was already complete from the beginning. To live by faith is to walk with quiet assurance, unshaken by delay, undisturbed by silence. It is to know that what you cannot yet touch is already yours, already forming, already on its way into visibility. The unseen is more real than the seen, and when you honor it with faith, life must deliver what you have dared to believe. Overflow beyond measure is the nature of the blessing that is being prepared for you. This is not a blessing that arrives just in time, barely covering what you asked for, barely filling the gap. No, this blessing will not only meet your need, it will surpass it, and in doing so, it will leave you in awe. You may have thought you were asking for something great, but what is on its way is larger than your prayer, greater than your imagination, richer than your expectation. Life does not delight in scarcity, it delights in abundance. When the blessing arrives, it will do more than satisfy, it will overflow. So often we think in terms of just enough to pay the bill, just enough to mend the relationship, just enough to feel a little peace. But the unseen power that answers is not a power of limitation. It does not give crumbs. It spreads a feast. The overflow comes as a reminder that you are not meant to live in survival, but in abundance. not in fragments, but in fullness. When this blessing comes, it will sweep you off your feet, because it will carry a magnitude that says, you were never forgotten, you were never abandoned, and you were always worthy of more than you dared to ask. Overflow has a purpose. It is not only for you, but through you. When you are given more than enough, the extra is designed to bless those around you, to inspire them, to awaken them to what is possible. You may have asked for provision, but what is coming will place you in a position to provide for others. You may have asked for a door to open, but what is coming will create a pathway for many to follow. This is how abundance works. It multiplies. It pours out until it spills over, and in that spilling, it touches everyone connected to you. Think of water filling a cup. Once it reaches the top, it does not stop flowing. It spills over the edges, running across the table, dripping to the floor. That is how this blessing will move in your life. It will not halt at the point of sufficiency. It will continue until you are drenched in gratitude, until you are left without words, staring in wonder at the scale of it. This is what it means to receive beyond measure. And when it arrives, you will know why the wait was so long, why the silence was so deep, why the smaller blessings felt incomplete. They were all preparation for this one. The overflow requires a vessel strong enough to hold it, and you have been strengthened through your journey. Now you are ready not just to receive, but to sustain it. What is coming is not a blessing that will fade. It is one that will anchor itself in your life and expand outward, shaping your future in ways you cannot yet see. When it comes, it will silence doubt, heal wounds, and lift you into a realm of gratitude so profound that words will fail you. It will be more than you asked, more than you dreamed, and it will leave you in awe. This is overflow beyond measure. And so you see, every blessing has been leading you here to this very moment of awakening. What is coming will not resemble the past. It will not trickle in small pieces, but arrive in fullness, overflowing beyond measure. The silence you endured was never abandonment, but preparation. The unseen you believed in is now ready to be revealed. And when it does, it will be so vast, so undeniable, that you will be left speechless. Walk today as if it has already happened. Feel the joy of fulfillment. Rest in the peace of completion, and know with certainty that life cannot withhold what you have already accepted within. This time the blessing is bigger, greater, richer, and it will leave you in awe. Thank you for listening, and may you carry this truth with you always. What you dare to accept inwardly must one day appear outwardly. Your blessing is already here.